Okay, let's continue our second to the last basic differentiation formula, which is derivative of a product. So if we have u and v as differentiable functions of x, then d over dx of u times v is equal to u times dv over dx plus v times du over dx. So, ang sinasabi lang dito is that yung first function u times yung derivative ng function v plus yung function v times yung derivative ng function u. Okay? Let's prove that. So, we need to show that d all over du of u times v is equal to u times dv all over dx plus v times du all over dx. Okay? So let's have the proof. We let u be equal to f of x and v be equal to g of x. Okay? So we can say that d of f of x over dx is the limit of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h as h approaches 0 and d of g of x all over dx consistent is equal to g of x plus h minus g of x all over h. Okay? Then, the derivative of f of x times g of x is equal to the limit of, we have f of x plus h times g of x plus h minus f of x times g of x all over h as h approaches 0. So what we need to do here, since we can no longer proceed, is to do some algebraic manipulation. And when we do some algebraic manipulation, we say that we need to subtract, I'm going to put it here, subtract and add in that order, and add f of x plus h times g of x to the numerator. Okay? So that this becomes the limit of f of x plus h times g of x plus h, okay, minus f of x plus h times g of x plus f of x plus h times g of x, dito sa taas minus f of x times g of x, sorry, blank. Okay. So notice nag-subtract tayo tsaka nag-add tayo ng f of x plus h times g of x at saka nag-add tayo at the same time, this is just 0, di ba? 0 lang naman yan, it cancels out. But again, we did an algebraic manipulation. We did that because we would like later on to see, to regroup muna, magre-regroup muna tayo ng mga terms which are common in the sense of f of x and g of x. So what we have here is what? So this implies that we have the limit. Pagsama-samahin natin ha. The limit of f of x plus h times, I have here g of x plus h minus g of x plus g of x times, I have here, anong parenthesis to? I have here f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. As h approaches 0. Okay. And then, what we are going to do is separate. Rename them again. So we have the limit of f of x plus h times g of x plus h minus g of x all over h. Ay, ito pang madali. Okay, gamitin ko na yung ano ha, para mabilis. The limit of sums of we have g of x times f of x plus h minus f of x and over h. Okay. As h approaches 0. Okay. Then after that, we're going to use as well yung limit of product. The limit of the product. So we have here the limit of f of x plus h as h approaches 0 times the limit of g of x plus h minus g of x over h as h approaches 0. Okay. Last we have here the limit of g of x as h approaches 0 times the limit of f of x plus h minus f of x over h as h approaches 0. Okay. Notice that whenever the limit of f of x plus h as h approaches 0, then this is just f of x. Okay. And we know that this is that we can just rename the limit of g of x plus h minus g of x over h as h approaches 0 as, ayan o, the derivative of g of x. Diba? So times d of g of x. Okay, all over dx. Plus, this is just g of x. Okay, times, this is d of f of x all over dx. Okay? Which implies that we know that f of x is u and gx is v. So this is u times dv all over dx plus this is v times du all over dx. And we're able to show that it is true. Okay? Next. The last basic differentiation formula is the derivative of a quotient. So if u and v are differentiable functions of x, then we have d over dx, okay, and u over v is equal to v times du over dx minus u times dv over dx all over v squared, provided that v is not equal to 0. Okay? Let's prove. Okay, let's prove. Prove. Tayo po tayo agad. Let, ganun pa rin, u be equal to f of x and v be equal to g of x. Then we can say that d of f of x all over dx is equal to the limit of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h as h approaches 0 and d of g of x all over dx is equal to the limit of g of x plus h minus f of x all over h as h approaches 0. Okay. So, pagod ah. The derivative of f of x all over g of x, okay, is the limit of codigo. Again ha, g of x here is not equal to 0. Okay? The limit of f of x, sorry, f of x plus h x plus h minus f of x all over g of x plus h minus g of x, okay, times 1 over h. Kasi i-divide ko pa, mahaba pa kaya ganyan na lang. Shorthand as h approaches 0. Okay? Next, what are we going to do now? What are we going to do now is, okay, let's separate. And then since 1 over h is a constant, ilabas natin siya. It will be what? This becomes the limit. 1 over h ay sa labas. The limit of f of x plus h all over. Since denominator, pareho naman sila ng operator sa numerator at sa denominator, and since para silang binomial, pwede sa paghiwalayin. Okay? Minus tayo dyan. And this one is f of x all over g of x. Okay? And then the next is, what we're going to do is to simplify. Okay? Let's simplify. As h approaches 0. This is 1 over h. The limit of, ang GCD natin dyan ay g of x plus GCD, LCD, rather, the least common multiple of the denominator times g of x. So what I have here is f of x plus h times g of x minus, I have here f of x times g of x plus h. Okay. Next, since again, we have nowhere to go, what we're going to do is to conduct an algebraic manipulation. So this time, what we're going to do is to subtract, okay, subtract and add in that order again, and add f of x times g of x, okay, to the numerator, to the numerator. Okay, so that what we have now is 1 over h times the limit of, mahaba-haba kasi ito eh, f of x plus h times g of x minus f of x times g of x, okay, plus I have here f of x, g of x, minus yung kanina, no? Minus f of x times gx plus h. All over h. So pag dire-group natin yan, as h approaches 0. So this is 1 over h as, pag rinegroup natin siya sa dalawang group, pwedeng ganito. F of x plus h times g of x minus f of x times g of x. Okay? All over h. Pwede ito. Plus, pwede ko nang i-minus to kasi minus dito eh. Gagalawin ko na to. Magma-minus ako dito, pero gagawin ko tong plus in that order. Gagawin ko tong plus f of x times g of x plus h. Okay, ito naman ay minus. Diba? This is f of x, g of x. Okay? All over h. Okay? Pwede yan. And notice that in the numerator, ang common, sa first term natin, ang common factor is g of x. So, pwede ito siyang ilabas. So, what I have here is 1 over h, the limit of g of x. Okay, common factor is g of x. Diba? Times, what I have is f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Okay? So, h approaches 0. And then, sa kabila naman, minus, ang common factor is f of x. So, f of x. Tapos natin yan si g of x plus h minus g of x all over h. Okay? May nawala tayo. Ayun yung denominator natin nawawala. Yung mag-multiply pa tayo dyan ng g times x plus h, g of x plus h times g of x. Nawala. 1 all over g of x plus h times g of x. Okay. Apa na solution ito? Saya-saya. we have 1 all over g of x plus h times g of x. Okay? Then, tayo dito pa sa kabila, 1 all over g of x plus h times g of x. Okay? And then, ito na tayo. So, yung limit natin dyan, ilabas natin yun ulit. Limit of a constant, tsaka limit of, gagamitin natin siya ng limit of a constant, at tsaka yung limit ng, tawag nito, limit of a constant and limit of a sum or difference in this case. So, pwede pang shortcut ko na. Kasi nakakapagod na. Okay? So, ano mangyayari dyan? So, what we have here is ito pala yung ginawa ko. Dahil pinasok ko, ilabas ko to, ipapasok ko to, mawawala yung ito pala. Ito ang mawawala. Ito mawawala to. Kasi pinasok ko siya sa loob. Okay. Pinasok ko sa loob, nilabas ko yung isa. Gets nyo ha? Kanina. Ulitin ko ha. Kanina, yung 1 over h nasa labas siya. Okay? Tapos ito naman. So, ginawa ko, pinasok ko yung 1 over h sa loob, nilabas ko itong nasa ilalim sa labas. Okay? Nilagay ko sa ilalim sa labas. Okay? Ganyan siya. So, kapag ginamitan natin yan at sinimplify natin, notice na itong, meron lang tayo ditong g of x na lang matitira dyan. G of x na lang tayo. At ito ay yung limit that is d of f of x. Okay, all over dx. Okay, minus, ito naman ay f of x. Ganun din ito magiging d of g of x. Shortcut na to ha. Basta again, gumamit ako ng limit of product and limit of difference. All over dx. Okay? Then multiplied by, this is multiplied by the limit. Hindi pa nawawala. Ayun pa oh. The limit of 1 all over g of x plus h times g of x as h approaches 0. Okay? So, whenever h approaches 0, gusto kong ipakita sa inyo dito. So, therefore, 0 itong isa dito. X plus 0 na yan. So, what we have is 1 all over gx times gx, di ba? Times, meron tayo ditong gx. Then we have here d of f of x all over dx minus f of x. Then we have here d of g of x all over dx. May parenthesis siya, naka-enclosed kasi grouping symbol ibig sabihin. So what we have here is, we can simplify this. This would be 1 all over, we know that g of x is v, so that would be v squared, diba? Times, this would be v. Ito ay u, ang f of x is u. So du all over dx minus u, then the derivative of v x. And to further simplify, we have v times du all over dx minus u times dv all over dx all over v squared. And that ends our proof. Okay. So we're going to apply these last two. Okay, last two properties or basic differentiation formulas in our next example. Okay. So what we're going to do is to find the derivative of the following functions. So let's have the solution. For number 1, we have y is equal to 3x minus 2 times 4x plus 1. So first, I'm going to show you how this problem is being solved traditionally. So of course, we need to make use of the FOIL method, diba? So which implies that we have y is equal to 12x squared minus we have plus 3x minus 8x is minus 5x, okay, minus 2, okay. Then so y prime now, which means the derivative of y would be 12x squared. Ano to ha? Didiretso ko na ha. Kaya nyo na dapat. So 24x minus 5. Okay? 24x minus 5. That's the addition. But using the formula, d over dx of u times v is u times dv all over dx plus v times du all over dx. So let tayo dito. Let u be equal to 3x minus 2 and v be equal to 4x plus 2. Okay? So the derivative of u du all over dx is 3 and the derivative of v all over dx is equal to 4. Okay? So, using this formula, the derivative of y prime, the derivative of y rather is, ang u natin ay 3x minus 2 times dv over dx is 4, okay, plus ang v natin ay 4x plus 2, ang ating du over dx is 3. So this becomes what? This becomes 12x minus 8 plus we have here 12x plus 6. 1 pala yung isa, sorry. Ano naman tayo, budulin na naman ako. So 1 pala to. So 1 yan, 1. So 3 nga yan. Okay? So that y prime is 24x minus 5. Okay? Notice that we resorted with the same answer. But the question is, Sir Magat, kailangan natin gagamitin yung formula. Of course, ginagamit natin yung formula especially if, say for example, we now have a power for 3x minus 2 or a power for 4x plus 1 or both of them has powers already. Medyo may hirapan na kayo mag-expand, especially if the powers are quite large. So we need to use the formula. Okay? Basic pa to kasi nga, sabi ko nga sa inyo dahil basic pa, dahil beginners pa kayo. So basic pa yung aking tinuturo sa inyo. Hanggang sa makuha nyo na yung gist kung paano siya ginagamit. Okay? Let's have number 2. We have y is equal to 3x minus 2 all over 5x. Okay? So we let u be equal to 3x minus 2 and v be equal to 5x. So the derivative of u in terms of x is 3 and the derivative of v in terms of x is 5. Dapat kabisado niyo kung paano kumuha ng derivative ha. Simple-simple lang yan. Yung sa first 5. Okay? Balikan nyo na lang. Una kayong magtaka. Baka magtaka kayo. Balikan nyo na lang yung technique. Okay. So that dy all over dx is equal to, ano yung formula natin? We have v du all over dx minus u dv all over dx all over b squared. Okay? Applying that formula, ano yung v natin? 5x. Okay? We have here 5x times, ang du over dx natin ay 3 minus, ang u natin ay 3x minus 2. Gaya dito ng bracket. And then, ang dv over dx natin ay 5. Okay, all over, ang v natin ay 5x. So, 5x quantity squared. So, what we have here is, I have 15x. So, minus, ano ko na ito, diretso ko na ha, 15x minus 10 plus 10. Okay? All over 25x squared. Okay? Which is, you can cancel out 15x. So I have 10 all over 25x squared. And we can simplify that into 2 all over 5x squared. And this is the answer. Okay? Next. Number 3. We are given y is equal to x cubed minus 5 and 2x plus 3 at x is equal to 1. Okay. So again, let u be equal to x cubed minus 5 and v be equal to 2x plus 3. Ang du all over dx is 3x squared. Okay? And ang ating dv all over dx is 2. Okay? So, dy all over dx is equal to, yung formula ulit natin, kanina, we have u times dv all over dx plus v du all over dx, which is equal to, ang u natin ay x cubed minus 5 times dv over dx is 2 plus ang v natin ay 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3, ang du over dx is 3x squared. Squared yan. Okay. At x is equal to 1. Okay. So, therefore, we have here 2x cubed. 2x cubed minus 10. Oops. My off. Plus, we have here 6x. Okay, 6x to the third power plus 9x squared. At x is equal to 1. So, to simplify, dy over dx is 8x cubed plus 9x squared minus 10. Then we are to evaluate it at x is equal to 1. Okay? So, let's evaluate it. So, we have dy of 1 over dx is equal to 8 times 1 cubed. 1 ba o negative 1? Negative 1. So negative 1 plus 9 times negative 1 to the second power minus 10. And we know that this is negative 8 plus 9 minus 10. So that dy of 1 all over dx is equal to negative 9. Okay. This is the answer. Okay. So that ends my discussion for the part 2 and part 3 of chapter 2. I will see you next meeting. Goodbye.